for those of you on that side. Now, even on a really, really, really good screen, it's tough to tell what this is. Now, if you were in first service, shh, okay? If you know exactly what this is, shh. The rest of you, I want you to guess what you're looking at. A slide. Brian, I'm glad you teach computers. You are the right man for the job. Wow. Okay, that's a slide. Way to go. What else do you think that is? Take a guess. Take a stab at what you're looking at. Like a rainbow, sunset, rain, rays of light, okay?
That could be one of
hair. That actually could be, I see that. Now I want TJ to go to the very next slide. Okay, this is that same picture with the one focal point in this picture zoomed up. What do you think it is now?
Orion.
Pluto? Oh, the poor ostracized little planet. It's not even a planet anymore. Poor little fella. It is a planet. I will tell you that. This is actually a planet. This picture you're looking at is Earth. It's a very, very famous picture among astrophysicists and astronomers. It's a picture referred to as the pale blue dot. This picture was taken, I'm not exactly sure of the year, but it was taken by the Voyager 2 satellite, deep space orbiter actually, right before it departed our solar system for the very last time. This is one of, if not the very last picture that Voyager ever took on the edge of our solar system. It was programmed by NASA's engineers when it got to the coordinates where it was on the outer reaches of our solar system to take one last look over its shoulder and take a picture of Earth. I have to tell you guys, I said this in first service and it still remains true even though that one is over. I don't know why I'm up here today. And if you don't know my history, that's funny for me because I did youth pastoring and Bible teaching for 6 years, so standing in front of a group of people is no big deal. But today I don't really know why I'm here because I had a rough week, a tiring week more than anything, kind of an emotionally exhausting week. And I really didn't want to do this morning. I hope I can be honest with you. I didn't. I don't want to have anything to do with this. In fact, early at the beginning of this week I'm going, oh man, I wish I had told Heidi yes. But I couldn't tell Heidi no anymore because she knows where I live and work and she's going to come find me, so I had to say yes. I honestly didn't want to do this. I'm tired. Pretty emotionally worn right now. And my selfish side is I can need somebody to minister to me. I don't want to speak to other people. I got my own problems. But man, this was a crazy week. And this is how the story began and why I'm up here still. I'm a techie geek, okay? If you were in first service, you know I was running super deep today. I don't mind telling you because I was doing music and I had to speak. So in first service, I set up the slideshow on my iPad. And in second service, I brought in my Mac. I'm an Apple geek. I'm sorry, but no, actually, I'm not sorry. But I had them both set up, all ready to go. I brought my little geek speakers so they could hear the song that's at the end of the sermon today. In first service, I was running back and forth, getting all this stuff set up. That's just me. I'm a geek. I own an iPad and I love it, okay? So I was on my iPad and I was using this little program called Stumble Upon, which, by the way, you don't have to have an iPad for. You just have to have an internet connection. But I will warn you, it will be your new addiction. So if you don't need a new addiction, don't do it. Stumble Upon, you go in and you tell it everything you like. You tell it all about your interests. You love hiking, you love hunting, you love cars, you like boys, you like girls. Be careful with those. You like sports, you like cars, you like space, whatever it is. So I set it up. I said, okay, here's all the things I like. Here's the things I think are cool. Then what's awesome about Stumble Upon and why this comes with a red box warning, you will get addicted because it will show you things you're interested in. Every time you hit the stumble button, it takes you to another website or another picture or another story that's along your line of interest. And it is almost never wrong. So you can sit there for hours and go, ooh, that's cool. Ooh, that too. And like 3 hours of passing, oh, shoot. So I was stumbling. You know, Googling has become a word now, so is this. I was stumbling Sunday night. Selena was working. And I came across this picture. I was like, what in the world is that? I mean, obviously it knows I like astronomy. So I was like, okay, clearly that's a star picture because I had it on a little better screen. But I had no idea what it was. And then I saw that it was a picture famously known as the pale blue dot. And the guy that made this picture famous is also the inspiration for my message today. And it's funny because this may be the first time you ever hear this. Please let me finish the sermon before you judge me, because what I'm about to say may rub you wrong. Because today's sermon was inspired by an atheist. In fact, today's theological center is brought to you by an atheist. A very famous atheist. He was a guy, now if you're under 20, this name probably means nothing to you. It actually wouldn't have meant much to me either, except for back when I lived at home where we didn't have cable and we had like 4 channels. This guy was always on one of them, PBS. His name's Carl Sagan.
Billions.
And if you know Carl Sagan, if you've ever, even if you're like 12, 10, 15, if you've ever heard Carl Sagan, you'll never forget him. Because Carl Sagan is familiar for having a very weird voice and saying a very famous phrase.
Yeah.
Billions and billions of years ago. That's how he talked. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, man, you are like watching paint dry. But he had cool pictures, and I liked astronomy, so I watched him anyway. Carl Sagan, if you'd switch it for me, Carl Sagan said this about this picture. He said, look at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you have ever known. Everyone you love. Everyone you know. Everyone you've ever heard of. Every human being who ever was lived out their lives. The aggregate of a joy and suffering. Thousands of confident religions. Ideologies and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager. Every hero and coward. Every creator and destroyer of civilization. Every king. Every peasant. Every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader. Ever heard of those lately? Every saint and sinner in the history of our species has lived there. Now pay really close attention to that last line. On a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. That right there will make you feel awful insignificant. Especially when you understand that our solar system is itty-bitty. To put it in layman's terms, our solar system is simply a cul-de-sac in a subdivision. Any of you live in a cul-de-sac or live near one? Okay. Solar system is like his cul-de-sac. The Milky Way is a subdivision out of tens of thousands of subdivisions in the universe.
Millions.
Okay? It's not like the solar system is huge. The solar system is just totally unimportant as it is. Earth is even less important, never mind these little ant-like creatures called humans that walk upon it. That's what Carl Sagan is saying. And actually, if you read this quote in its entirety, it's from a little essay he wrote called The Pale Blue Dot in 1994. It's fascinating, by the way. I don't think it's going to throw any of your faith, but it will make your brains go. It's amazing stuff. You can look it up. He said, as he went on, he basically inferred that because it's so insignificant, because we are a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam, that it did some interesting things. One, it reminded us of how insignificant we really were. Two, it reminded us that this is home and we got to take care of it. And three, of course, because he was a well-known and renowned atheist, he made the point that, he inferred it, he didn't straight up say it, but he inferred the point that also reminds us of the fact that if we're tiny, insignificant like that, how much more unlikely it is that there's some supreme being who's coming to save the day. And it's at that point I disagree with Mr. Sagan. This week, I met a girl on the phone named Katie. And it's not really her real name. She wouldn't be very happy if I told you her real name. But Katie called the place where I work, which is KTSY. And I was busy. I didn't have time for Katie, because I was on the air. I had to do breaks. I had to talk between songs. I had to tell about the cool events coming up and give away free stuff. I did not have time to talk to Katie. And Katie called, and one of our student workers took the call and was a little overwhelmed and didn't know what to do. And as I was about to head back in the studio, one of the other folks in the building, one of the director of radio, said, "Hey, Travis, you take it." Now, Katie was suicidal. So I knew this probably wasn't going to be like a, hey, you're going to be fine, and hang-up conversation, and it wasn't. I was on the phone with Katie for 40 minutes. And in the background, my DJ side is freaking out because songs are playing into songs and breaks are being missed and all this stuff. But at one point I stopped caring because Katie was at the end of a rope. Katie has been working at a major hospital here in the Valley for almost 10 years. She's 9.5 years, she said. And this afternoon, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon, Katie got lost on her way to work.
Oh.
Now, how long did I tell you Katie worked there?
10 years.
This woman got lost on her way to work. She was sobbing on the phone, and God only knows why she called KTSY. She had counselors, she had friends, but she called us. And she talked to me. I'm going, what in the heck am I doing? And if you know anything about folks that are tempted by suicide, prone to suicide, you know you start perking up and paying a little more attention when they have a plan. Katie had a plan. She's a medical professional, so it was an interesting plan. It doesn't matter what it was, but she had a plan. And this woman was at the end of her rope, and she was telling me the story of how she had taken care of her husband for 8 years. And I inferred that her husband was an illegal immigrant. That matters in a second. You understand why I didn't bring that up, because she mentioned that after he got his green card, he was gone. He was very unhealthy, and being a healthcare professional, she provided care for him every day, provided food, worked 60, 70 hours a week, and as soon as he got his green card, he was gone. Katie was also an adopted child, and this, by the way, is a lady who at her youngest was probably 45, maybe 50. This was not a young kid. Katie had been adopted, and her father, her adopted father, had died a few years back, and her mother and her brothers and sisters had took it upon themselves to let her know after he died that he was the only one that wanted her, and that, frankly, they didn't care about her anymore. So this is a woman who's on the phone, and she's bawling, and she's at the end of her rope, and she just kept coming back over and over and over again to how God didn't love her, because nobody loved her. If God loved her, why would her husband walk out on her like that? I'm not making this stuff up. This isn't like some super hyper sentimentalized sermon. Like, this is the real deal. This was 4 days ago. Why would my husband leave me? Why would God let that happen? Why would my brothers and sisters that I grew up with for 30 years wait till my dad died? Well, by the way, we didn't want you. I have diabetes. I'm wildly overweight. I'm sick. I don't know how much longer I'm going to last. Why am I so sick? How come I can't even find my way to work? Why is it the counselors can't help me? Over and over and over again. And I told Katie, after talking to her, let her vent for about 35 minutes, I told Katie she had the Yabba disease. And the Yabba disease is something every single one of you has, and it's a major disease, and it's terminal. And every one of you has it. The Yabba disease is where you say, yeah, but, every time somebody reminds you how much God loves you. And that was Katie's thing. Katie's thing was, yeah, but this, yeah, but that, yeah, but this. It was incredible, the coincidences that turned out, I think, not to be coincidences in my life last week, because I was feeling down, I was questioning my own value, and here is this thing about this pale blue dot, and I'm like, wow, that's deep, it's depressing, but